Hey guys, just Rosa here again this morning. It's a little cooler this morning than it was previously, and there's a guy who's just starting to come up behind me as I'm doing a go live. I'll wait for him to go. Right, now, so I was just here thinking this morning about what it is that we do. Whether it be, doing the online biz or doing the BDSM stuff or whatever, various different terms, more specifically what people call it. Like when I'm in a relationship that a lot of people would think, oh my God, is it real? Do people really do that? And I'm like, well, yes, they do. And then, well, what do you call it? Do you call it a relationship? Do you call yourself master? Do you call yourself slave? Do you call yourself a lot of other things? And I said, well, the relationship is what you want to call it, what you agree to call it. With a lot of other people, they like to say, I live in a DS relationship. And I like to say, well, is it really a relationship or is it a contract or whatever? And I'm like, well, to me, I kind of like to think of a lot of my relationships, hey Misty, hey Joe, as a dynamic. And people say, well, what do you mean it's a DS dynamic, dominance and submission dynamic? Dynamic for me means that it's not particularly, I wouldn't say stagnant, but it's basically, it's evolving, it changes, there's an ebb and flow within the relationship. Morning, Brett. And I guess it's, if your relationship's not changing in at least subtle ways and evolving, then you got to keep that fascination with each other. And that's what I have with my dynamic with my partners. I love them to bits, and it's the dynamic that we have. And what you want to call your relationships, your various relationships, it is really up to you and what you and your partners agree on. And to check in occasionally. I know there's a couple who've been around for ages, both together and in the scene. I like to call it the scene. They live at lifestyle, and they check in with each other occasionally to say, hey, let's sit down and let's discuss where we're at with our relationship or with our dynamic, and no judgment, just be honest how you feel we're going, and what we're doing, and just advise everything. And these relationships can be as strict as micromanaging somebody, with contracts, to basically being a little bit more laissez-faire, with no contracts, and just sort of, we'll take it as it comes. What I think is that whatever you want to call it, that all parties agree to what you're going to call it, what those definitions are. They don't have to match exactly. I mean, if they have to match exactly, then it's kind of boring. But there's enough of an overlap and enough respect between each party to actually communicate with each other and tell each other, this is or isn't working for me, and what can I do to improve myself or the situation or the environment. And it's very important for the environment as well. It's not just the dynamic and the people there, but the environment and the mindset of getting things right, to really moving forward and to really growing and developing in a lot of people's relationships. And some of that is to occasionally take time out and check in with yourself and see, okay, this is me now. Are my goals and dreams and what I think of what's going on still apply? So this has kind of gone on a bit of a segue, but I guess whatever you want to call it, and people will call it different things. Communicate with each other. Morning, Meta. and say, look, okay, this is what my kind of definition of my thoughts on what this particular term means for what we have, for what we are doing is. And like I said yesterday, if you're ever in any doubt, just ask the question, honestly, and with an open mind and heart. And usually, you know, it might be a bit strange because you've had some expectations about, you know, what you thought, but just clarify, because you might find that quite often a lot of things do match up, and if not, well, you can go, that wasn't what I thought. Now, why is that why is that not what I thought it was? And go from there. Just have an honest discussion with people about whatever you want to call your relationship or what it is that you do. That's another term that we use for being in the scene in BDSM, is what it is that we do. So anyway, I think I've talked for long enough. Again, if anyone is ever curious about anything, about questions for me, you can PM me about it, or pop a comment below about anything you want me to randomly ramble about. And I hope you all have a good, fantastic day. It's a little bit overcast today, so I've got on my coat, but I've still got on the latex. So loving you guys to bits, and just opening my heart out today. See you guys.